All right, for the media that is here, we're going to go ahead and start the post-fight press conference. I want to thank Freddie Goose and Brown from TGV Promotions, along with Tabella Entertainment. What a night of action! As obviously we have the champ Robert Easter Jr. successful tonight with the victory over Javier Fortuna. It was a very compelling matchup. Certainly wasn't easy, but he got the victory, remaining undefeated, making Toledo, Ohio very proud. Part, obviously, Adrian Brothers there to support him. His father, Robert Easter Sr., Mike Stafford. So if you guys have questions, we'll start off with opening comments from Robert Easter Jr. Robert, this victory, I know there was some gamesmanship that was going on, some trash talking in the fight, but what are your overall thoughts as you've had about an hour to digest the victory?
You know, we, first of all, I want to thank God for this victory, you know, making it out healthy. And shout out to Javier Fortuna as well. And management team, Al Heyman, TBT on the team, and About Big was my big motivation partner. You know, he was using tactics. You know, Javier Fortuna is he is a former two-time world champion. He got experience, but you know, a lot of the talking, trash talking, moving around was just, you know, to survive in the fight. You know, he knew he wasn't in shape. But he used tricky tactics to run and trap me in and hit me with great shots. But, you know, I kept going for it and I kept pushing. You know, it was an ugly fight, but we got the job done. That's all that matters.
And remaining undefeated, so the members of the media, if you guys have questions, by all means, Andrew from Swanson Communications has the microphone. Identify your media outlet, and then you proceed.
John Galley, New York Fights. Robert, you talked the other day in the gym. You had a very aggressive game plan in mind. You spoke about the last time you fought, in which you made it a little harder in your estimation than it needed to be. Do you think you did a little bit of that tonight, giving up the distance there? I know he was tricky and everything else, but you knew he wasn't in shape. Did a little bit of that play into your mind psychologically?
Yeah, of course, because he wasn't really giving me anything. So I really had to press and walk forward and walk him down. You know what I'm saying, in order to get to him, because he was doing a lot of running and holding, so he made it a brutal match.
If you were in the corner for LAMONT Peterson, would you have stopped the fight right then?
No, I would have actually let him box first. Made a little move on the range. That was a bad strategy. Could have moved more. Could have boxed more. He didn't use his feet. So we know LAMONT can use his feet. Therefore, Earl did what he had to do. He had on basketball shoes, but he was going forward.
No, prior to the fight,
seen that before.
You talked about the power of ERROL Spence. Bob, Mel, you both mentioned you didn't understand the strategy. Do you think people are going to start to respect the power?
Ooh, no.
Hey, Jamal. Hey, Jamal. Got a question here? Hey, Jamal.
I think that, no, man, you cannot. It's not about them respecting the power. They're going to respect Coach Derek. They're going to respect Coach Derek James in a minute. That's different. That's next level.
Guys,
I believe Coach Derek was 2017's Coach of the Year. Earl was outstanding, most improved fighter of the year. Come on with these awards. I was knockout of the year. Duh. You know. But if they didn't give it out to us, okay, we understand. We got more years to get it. Lamachico is a dog. We got more years to get it. Lamachico is a dog now. Terrence Crawford did his thing, but at 147, it's ERROL Spence, man.
Do you think Spence is #1 pound for pound, guys?
No.
No,
he's still working. He got to put more work in, but that guy is definitely next level.
Hey, Jamal, I seen recent on Instagram about you saying there was some troubles going on with your trainer.
Nah, no trouble with my trainer, bro. I don't know what you're talking about. It's never on my Instagram. Go look at it.
My friend, when are you fighting again? Do you have a date?
I've announced my date real soon.
Do we have
an opponent? Yeah, I announced the date, everything real soon. We're looking to go back and follow me on Instagram at Future Boxing. That's where you'll get the date and the opponent.
It wasn't your trainer. You said it was two other people.
The man going back in March.
How do y'all feel about
I'll be there real soon.
How do y'all feel about Triple J and Canelo?
We want him. We just gotta, you know, like they said, we gotta. I want Canelo to go back down.
Will there be a rematch? Any possibility of that, or are you looking forward to a bigger fight? Do you feel like he was fighting dirty because he was holding on?
Anybody want to call out who you're looking for next?
This is a recap of Saturday's events. Let's start with the Easter Bunny, Robert Easter Jr. They call him Bunny in Ohio. I call him the full name of the Easter Bunny. I tried to interview him actually last Easter Sunday, but it didn't work out. Tried to catch him last Easter Sunday weekend. Robert Easter Jr. got his second straight gift, in my opinion. All right, it wasn't a robbery, so to speak. That's why I refer to it as a gift. Obviously, the referee was in on it. He questionably deducted Fortuna in the second round. Robert Easter Jr.'s opponent, Javier Fortuna. But when you look at the referee throughout the fight, his body language, his activity or lack thereof, especially in the mid to late rounds, he should have warned Robert Easter Jr. a few times for the things he was doing, and as well as Javier Fortuna. He should have warned both guys numerous times, and he didn't. And that leads me to believe, or leads me to speculate, that he did what he came there to do, what he was paid to do. To get that point deduction and then have that be the deciding factor in the fight. Just how quickly he made that call to deduct the point and then just never followed up with either guys with the same type of warning or the same type of deduction. I just didn't like what I saw. So if you look at the cards, which should be showing on the screen now, you'll see that Glenn Feldman's card, which is the first one to your left, reads 14-13 for Easter Jr. If you add that point, then you have a draw. John McKay, which is the card in the middle, his score already had Fortuna winning. So his score would have changed to 115-113 for Fortuna. And then the third judge's card would have read 115-113 for Easter Jr. I'm telling you, the referee was in on it, and he did what they paid him to do. So you add that point, and then it's a draw. But listen, notwithstanding that, if you don't make weight, you aren't going to win the belt. And there's a way to prevent it, because it's been happening here and there, maybe even more often, or let's just say we're paying more attention to it over the past few years. And the way to fix it is to start handing out stern, punitive damages. You do that, and guys will make weight. Or, dare I say, guys will begin to move to their natural weight classes because they don't want that hefty fine. When you look at Zab Judah, who maybe, when you look at it now, maybe never recovered. When he fought Floyd Mayweather Jr., he made $250,000. So what happened was, I believe it was Bob Arum at the time. Bob Arum paid Don King $1 million. He didn't pay it to Zab Judah. He paid it to the promoter, Don King. Don King turned around and gave Zab Judah his $250,000. And then when Zab Judah got suspended and fined and what have you, along with Leonard Ellaby and whoever else, Judah's father, Roger Mayweather. The fine for Zab Judah was $250,000. Now Nevada, knowingly or not knowingly, that was a hefty fine, $250,000, and they may have thought or pretended to think that they were fining him on his total purse, the $1 million. That wasn't his total purse. That was the amount paid to Don King. Don King paid Judah $250,000. Judah was fined $250,000, which means he made $0 for the Mayweather fight. Actually, he made negative money because the internal, depending on how Don King did it, the Internal Revenue Service is going to either tax Zab Judah on $250,000 or they're going to tax the $1 million. So King takes his out, Judah has to pay whatever. I mean, it's like it broke him, in my opinion. So you start handing out stern, punitive damages or penalties or what have you, and you'll see some guys, they'll shape up. One of Robert Easter Jr.'s problems is that he's too inconsistent. One round he looks like Tommy Hearns, putting the jab on you from the outside. The next round he wants to be Mike Tyson and start the brawl, which you don't want. And speaking of jabs, he still doesn't know how to properly throw the jab. Robert Easter Jr.'s jab is a backhand, which is illegal. He should be warned, but if you're not going to warn him, then he has to correct it. If they keep allowing it, that's fine. Maybe you run into a referee who doesn't allow it, and then he's kind of like wondering, like, what's going on? I've always been doing this, and no one's ever corrected it. The problem with not correcting it isn't the judge's problem or the opponent's problem. It's going to be Easter's problem. So, that's something that they're going to need to fix. I looked at the punch stats in the fight, and I didn't agree with them. Now, did I sit there and count every punch thrown and every hit or miss? No. However, I saw great movement and not running by Fortuna, as Easter would have people believe. I saw more activity. I saw Easter trying to cut the ring off, but getting a little frustrated at times because he couldn't catch up to Javier. Easter Jr. in a way reminds me of his promoter, Adrian Broner, in that he doesn't throw enough punches in parts of the fight. Now, if you think Easter won, I'm not going to argue with you. He has this thing where he gives his size up, and it's going to cause him to get hit and dropped very soon. He got dropped in a few fights ago. So he needs to be careful. Ambulance, fire truck, something going by, if you can hear it in the background. He needs to continue to work on using his length. He's blessed to be basically about 6 foot tall with a 76-inch reach, which are both unreal at 130 pounds. Just unreal. And he needs to take advantage of that better in the future. Robert, stop giving up your height and length. Work on being Tommy Hearns for 2.5 minutes each round for like 8 or 9 rounds. I mean, you can't do it the entire fight. I get that. But you also can't do 1 round where you're Hearns and then not do it for 2 rounds and then all of a sudden I'll do it the next. You can't do that. Easter is falling into dangerous territory. And to be honest, he's very lucky, very fortunate to be champion after facing Denis Shavikov and Javier Fortuna in your last 2. Not to mention the Richard Comey fight 3 fights ago. That was 114, 113 on 2 of the judges' cards. Oddly enough, one of those judges was John McKay. He had that fight 114, 113 for Comey, just like he had this fight for Fortuna, same score. So, listen, Robert Easter Jr. is not ready for Garcia, as in Mikey. When I look at the rankings, everybody in the top 11 represents some type of danger. This is what you want now. You want danger for a guy who has a title, who's had a few defenses, and it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see who he faces next. So maybe in a couple of months we'll find out who that is. But he has to work on some things, or there's going to be, I mean, trouble's already looming, but there's going to be some definite trouble. In the main event, I'm going to go back to my last video, the keys to victory. First key to victory, use the jab for LAMONT Peterson. Use the jab. Sometimes the Barry Hunter school of doing things is walking right in and ripping shots to the body with no jab. And then I talked about how Dusty Harrison employed that style against Mike Dallas Jr. and kind of got beat up a little bit. And then there were rounds when Peterson tried it against Amir Khan, and Amir Khan let his hands go, took advantage of it early on, and then later on he kind of let Peterson off the hook. Well, ERROL Spence Jr. did not let LAMONT Peterson off the hook. The jab of Peterson's was non-existent. I'm not sure what kind of plan they came up with prior to this fight. I mean, the first couple of rounds, LAMONT did nothing. The third round, he kind of showed some signs of life, and I began to think, okay, now we have something here. He got dropped by a sweeping left hook in the 5th round, and then he got stopped in the 8th. Now, mixed in between all of that, this guy just allowed himself to get hit. Another one of my keys was to get inside and kind of smother him and go to work. Didn't do that enough. Barely at all. Another key was use your legs. Give some movement. Negative. Didn't do it. It's like the plan was to come to brawl. Just come out and brawl. Even if it wasn't. He allowed Spence Jr. to take him out of his game too soon if his game was to do something else. I think he allowed him. I just don't know because I don't know what the plan was. It appeared to be as if he didn't have one. And listen, everyone can say Hunter did this and Hunter did that to look out for the best interest of the kid. It's okay, Lamont. I saw that look in your eyes between the 5th and the 6th round, and the 6th and the 7th round, and the 7th and the 8th round. I know what that looks. Listen, I know what that look means. It's cool. So we can say Hunter looked out for him, and Lamont was ready to do this, do that, and it was Hunter's call. Those eyes told me something different, and I'll leave it at that. You had your guns out, but you lost to a guy with a bigger gun. At least you took the fight. And speaking on that, and everyone talks about how great a man Lamont Peterson was for taking the fight. Look, if you want to give him credit for that, okay. But he's supposed to take the fight. These are professionals, and he was a champion at another weight class. He's supposed to take these fights. Credit, yes, but come on, man. Let's not give him too much credit for doing what he was supposed to do. Let's be critical of these hype jobs out here who don't take the fights they should take. Oh, he needs more time. Oh, he's not ready. Listen, Errol Spence Jr. wants Keith Thurman Jr. next. And look, if your name is Jr., then we're going to call it out on this channel. Floyd Mayweather Jr., Errol Spence Jr., Timothy Bradley Jr., Keith Thurman Jr., Robert Easter Jr. I mean, if not, take it out your name. Anyway, Thurman isn't going to fight Spence next, no matter how much Errol wants it. So where does he go? Because everybody's kind of booked. So next, he'll maybe get a Jesse Vargas or an Omar Figueroa Jr. or a Jamal James. You can never tell with this premier boxing stuff, like who's going to get who. I mean, a Louis Collazo wouldn't surprise me in today's boxing world. You just don't know. But his fight will probably be somewhere in Texas, and that's fine. If he gets a voluntary defense, whatever name they throw in there is fine. As long as they're like top 15. Like, oh boy, how can I use this? Corruption in this sport. If you want to make a guy in the top 15, and some videos ago I talked about a heavyweight back in the day, and the brown paper bag thing. So hopefully it's a real guy, like in the top 10, top 15, as a voluntary. And then that fight should serve as a prelude to something bigger late in the year. Should serve. Stay tuned, and we'll catch you on the next one.